Hey, have you ever been in a situation where you see people that just don't treat you the way you want to be treated? Let's go to the whiteboard for a minute. Listen, this is a critical thing. As we begin to think about ourselves and we think about all that we face in life, right? And sometimes when we think about who we are and what we do, we kind of have to eventually look in the mirror, right? And when we look in this mirror and we think about what do we see, right? What do we see? So I want you to think about something for a minute. When you think about, this whole situation of, the real reason people treat you like they do. Now, I want you to think about for a minute, when you walk into a mirror and you look in that mirror, you see a reflection of yourself. And I want you to understand something about people, that when you start going out and you're dealing with people, you're interacting in the business world, you're interacting as an entrepreneur, as a leader, as someone who is in a relationship, whatever that thing is, a lot of times we see the impact of how people tend to treat us, what people think we can do, what they think we're able to accomplish, what they think that we're actually, are able to fix or not fix, the skills they think we have, the level of potential that they feel we have, right? All these things. But I want you to understand, just like looking in a mirror, I want you to imagine, right, that, let's go back here for a minute. I want you to imagine that this mirror, if we were to remove this mirror and think about that there's another person on this side, right? And this person here, right, is looking. And I want you to think for a minute that to really understand, if you saw other people, it's kind of like that mirror, to understand this, that people see you the way you see you. So let me say that again. This is very important, right? People see you the way you see you. Now, this is very important. A lot of people don't really get this, and this is why they can't get people to treat them the way they want to be treated, because sometimes they don't realize that they're giving off something in the way they portray themselves that gives that person permission to treat them that way. So if I'm always talking about, how I'm not good at something, right? I can't speak well. I'm not able to do this. I'm not as smart as Joe or Sarah. I'm not good in math. I'm not this. I talk about all that I'm not. So I begin to give that off. And so when people begin to treat me as if I can't do as many things, I wonder why, but I give that energy off all the time because I see myself that way. I start to do things to overcompensate, to maybe protect that. Someone sometimes can even feel a person that's insecure about something. They tend to do more than required sometimes to cover up that thing that they feel is a weakness, right? So they might overdo it. So, and in doing that, you don't realize you cause other people to maybe back away. This is why the way we see ourselves is so important, because you tend to give that off in your communication, in your demeanor, in the way that you carry yourself. And as you begin to do that, something is actually happening, right? This is not just something you're just doing that has no consequences. Something is happening. It's just like when we see a reflection of ourselves with we look into a mirror and it bounces back. We see light bounce back an image of what's in that mirror. I want you to consider that if I begin to put out doubt, if I begin to put out fear, if I begin to put out, always tearing myself down, then I'm actually creating some permission for others to see me that way too. But if I begin to put out more confidence, if I put out some more dedication, if I put out more discipline, people will see me that way because I had to first see myself that way. So this is why so many people end up stuck. And they end up in a situation where they're actually trapped because they don't realize that they've built a cage for themselves, right? So let me go back here just for a minute on my whiteboard. So what we can do, right? we become this individual, and this individual that, again, has hope, has aspirations, has dreams, right? But what happens is we start putting these bars, right around us. And we begin to end up in a situation where, as I begin to try to, start to really discuss and to focus on the things that I feel I'm not so good at, the things that I feel I can't do, the things that I feel I'm not able to do this. I'm not able, you should be even careful the words you use about yourself, right? And this person, let's say we got some fingers here and they're kind of holding on somehow and they're trapped inside here. And, whatever it is that you're dealing with, you put yourself inside of this prison. And one of the things that we have to understand is we create prisons, right? We create prisons by our own perceptions. And when we perceive ourselves to be not good enough, not pretty enough, not handsome enough, not smart enough, right? And we don't realize that we have a tendency then to protect that thing that we think is weak. We try to get in front of it before someone else notices it. So we say to them that we're weak, right? So you want to know, like, if you cook something you don't think you can cook well, you say, I'm going to get it, but I don't know, I don't know how to cook, So then people start saying, you can't cook. Well, how? You told me this, what you tell me. You must can't because you keep telling me you can't, right? Well, it's not that you don't want to be honest about things you need to do better, but when you portray that I'm learning how to cook better, then I can see you as a person who can cook and is learning to cook better. If you start saying, I'm going to learn how to speak better, I am working on losing more weight, I am working on having a better relationship, I am working on being a better professional, right? That is a different perspective, and it causes people to see you as still human, but with a source of confidence, with a source of direction, with a source of belief in oneself, that when people look at you and view you, they're going to see more of your potential than they do your problems. See, when you focus more on your problems than you do your potential, you're going to cause people to focus more on your problems than they do your potential. How did they get permission to do that? They got that permission from you. So we have to ask ourselves, if I want people to start seeing me the way that I want them to see me, I first, must make a choice to start working on being the person that I want people to see me as. So first, I've got to do that. I've got to become that. And I have to start talking and walking and communicating like the person that I want people to see me as. And what will happen is, over time, you will actually be seen that way by others because it's what you're giving off. It's what you're communicating. And you can change the perception that people have about you. And you can cause people to have a different perspective on who you are because you now have a different perspective on who you are. I never forget coming through a lot of tough things as a kid and never seeing myself as someone who could get straight A's, right? But I had to change my perception. Eventually, I was able to start getting straight A's. It wasn't until almost my college years, it took me a long time to figure it out that there was nothing wrong with me and that I maybe came through some unfortunate situations, but it didn't mean that I was unfortunate. So this is a thing that we have to learn how to do. And this is what we focus on so much. We talk about being the CEO of your life, right? And we always focus on CEO, right? We have to charge forward and take action on the things that really matter. We have to keep expanding and growing. And we have to keep overcoming the things inside that stop us from showing success on the outside. And so I want all of you, listen, if you really understand where I'm coming from, leave some comments in here and kind of let me know. I love reading the comments. Let me know if you can relate to this, right? Where there's things that you know that sometimes you have given the wrong permission to others to begin to see you the wrong way. way. And, you know, if you can leave some encouragement for others that might see this video, to encourage everyone, because we're all in this together. We got to be more positive. We have to be more forward thinking, and we have to start telling people who we are and who we're becoming. We have to talk about it before we get there so that we will have the directions to the place and the destination. When you talk about the goal of where you want to be, when you talk about where you want to go, it obligates you. It causes you to be accountable to something that you've communicated, that you are becoming, that you are heading towards, and it'll cause you to align your actions toward that direction. And as a CEO of your life, you have permission to do so. Until next time, I look forward to doing everything possible to lead you to becoming the best you as I do the same. I'll see you next time.